Hello everybody and welcome. I just thought I would show you my apparatus here for doing the overhead camera filming, and also I just want to touch upon making a simple cylinder. So basic, so simple, so humble, but so important to know how to do it. Just show you briefly the arrangement there. Can you see that boom coming out of the wall there? And then that's right directly down on top of my wheel. So without further ado, I'm now going to attach the camera right here to the boom, and that goes like that. Just bear with me as I probably make a fool of myself and crash the camera around. Oops, hang on a minute, I've got to just change that angle like that. That's it. And that just clamps on there. Now, here am I. Let's have a look. I just wanted to adjust that mirror very slightly like that. It's going to make a try and incline it a little bit back like that. Things like the lengths I go to please you lot. Okay. Now a lot of people who come here, we do workshops. One of the first things we do, I just get them sit them down and try and get them to make a cylinder, just to see what their abilities are, because you ask somebody to make a cylinder and you'll soon see where their skills lie, or not, as the case may be. And it is so important to know how to make a cylinder. So this is about 400 grams clay. Let's just go through it very quickly. I hope I don't get my head in the way of this one. No, I think we're okay. So we're going to center him up. Center him right down to the wheel head. And I go in like that. Okay, you see that? It's giving me a sort of, I'm not sort of sinking a borehole down. I'm going in more in a V shape. And I pull the clay across, like that. Wider than the cylinder I want to will end up with, as it were. This diameter, the cylinder won't be that diameter. Okay, now just go across the base with your fingers and just make sure it's flat. Some people say you need to compress the bottom and all that. Well, whatever terminology you want to use, just make sure the base is flat, and that'll make it okay. Now, I don't know if we're going to get some sideways finger work there. I don't know if you'd be able to see it, but I'm going to start lifting up like that. Now I would recommend that to do that you don't use a sponge in your hand. Some people like to use a sponge. Throw your sponge away. You don't need it for that. Other people like to use a stick on the outside here to lift. Don't use that either. I'll tell you why as well, because if you put a stick on the outside, it just takes all the water off the pot. You're draining, you're scraping all the water off the side of the pot onto the stick. So you're not lubricating your pot, you're doing the opposite of it. You're making it get dry quicker than you want. So scrap that idea. Now, when you apply water to the pot, see how my fingers are placed like that, one on the inside, one on the outside. What you can do is just put a little bit of water there between your fingers, and it runs down both fingers to the inside and the outside of the pot, thus lubricating it. And you'll notice if you see me working, you'll see me often I'll put a bit of water and then I'll go like this up the side of the pot like that. That's just spreading the water over the surface of the pot. Okay, let's continue. So we've got a coned up shape. And now we're going to lift the clay straight up. When you get to the top, just hold it there for a few revolutions before you take your hands off. Now you appreciate that with my hand beginning the lift on the outside here is on the wheel head. The fingers that are on the inside there are on the base of the pot, so there's a slight difference in height, which is actually what you want. You don't want your fingers to be like dead level like that. You want the ones on the inside here to be just a fraction above, which is in fact the difference, which is the thickness of the base, if you see what I mean. So now what I do is I push in from the outside here with this hand, which creates a sort of lip there, and that lip, or shoulder if you want to call it a shoulder, I then carry it forward and up all the way to the top. Hold it there for a second or two. Take my hand away. Again, one more time. In at the base, create the shoulder and lift him up. Notice my thumbs are joined, which gives my hand stability. Okay, now I'm not going to fuss around this cylinder. I just wanted to show you how to make a quick basic cylinder. What you can do though now with your stick is just clean off the bottom third of the pot. Take the angle there and put in a bevel underneath, or an undercut. That is very important, because when you come to fettling or finishing the pot off later, you'll appreciate why there is an undercut there. It makes the whole exercise so much easier. Okay, leathering the rim, hold it like that, and then with your thumb here on my left hand, just place it over the rim, and then between my index finger and thumb, just hold the leather to the rim. Don't squeeze it, don't press it, just hold it to it for a few revolutions to clean it up. Now, my sponge on a stick, where has that gone? Oh, I've got one over here. My sponge on a stick, which is again just a chopstick with a sponge from wherever, out of a pill box or... Okay, you just put that down in there, just, if there's any water, just suck it up.
Okay folks, I don't know, yeah, looking in the mirror it's
a fairly good straight cylinder. Now from the cylinder we can then go on to make other shapes. And the reason I believe it's important to start with a cylinder is because it teaches us about clay distribution, how to raise up the clay, how to raise it up in a controlled way, how to raise it up so it's in a straight way. And I maintain, and I may be wrong, I don't know, but people like to make all the nice curvy shapes, and they want to make all the nice fancy curves and narrow neck bottles and all that. Well, come on, if you can't throw a basic straight cylinder, how are you going to, on earth are you going to throw a curvy shape with a closed in neck and a nice full belly? You won't be able to do it. And also the other thing is you need to train your eye. That's what it's about, training your eyes. Okay, training your hands, but training your eyes to see. And you need to see a straight line, and you need to be able to throw to a straight line. And when you can throw to a straight line, you'll then be able to throw to a curve. Okay, otherwise it's the cart before the horse, isn't it? So, wire. Get your wire like this. Now don't have a wire that is so long that it's sort of way, you're holding it way over here. The toggles are way off the end here. Okay, that's uncontrolled cutting. Get it to the right length with your thumbs. Press down and press down onto the wheel head like that. Have the wheel turning just a little bit, not too fast, and then pull it towards you like that. So, just basic stuff, but you know, in my observation is that a lot of people who come here on courses, it's the basic stuff that actually we have to go back to time and time again, and that's what they need. Right, so that one is now when you're lifting a cylinder, don't indent it with your fingers, because if you apply a finger like that, it leaves an indent in the clay. Cup it like that, with sort of dried off hands a bit. Just cup it and then lift it towards you. Okay, and it'll just come off easy peasy. Nothing could be easier. If you want, you can then put it onto a bat. Let's just take a sideways view of that. Whoop! Oh dear, that wasn't a good idea, was it? Just wanted to show you the sideways. If you didn't quite catch it in the mirror, you got the sideways angle there. All right, folks, that's making a simple cylinder. Now that's something you can go away and practice. You weigh up some balls of clay for 400 grams and make sure they're well kneaded. Whatever skill or not, as the case may be, if your clay is not properly kneaded and properly wedged up, you'll find that it'll be a real handicap to you. So first of all, get the clay right, then the pot will get right. Okay. So Simon Leach saying, keep practicing.
We'll see you soon.